To you by him, Troy Aikman, WWE, next October. That's a lie. That's not true at all. What are we going to see here tonight? I mean, we know this. Statistically, we shouldn't see a lot of points. That's the way these two teams have played here in 2018.
Well, when they played week 3, neither team was able to score a touchdown. It was a 9-6 win for Tennessee, and I don't expect really a lot of changes as far as how this game's going to go. The teams are built a lot alike. They both want to run the football. Both have outstanding defensive teams that have played well. And it comes down to who's going to be able to control the line of scrimmage and who's going to be able to protect the football. And we'll see which defense prevails.
Well, we know that Cody Kessler gets the start for Jacksonville. Bortles has been benched. There's plenty to say about that, and they talked about that during our pregame. And there is Mr. Kessler. On the other side, it's Marcus Mariota. I think they're waiting for him to take the next step. There have been flashes. He was great last week. But as far as consistently being an upper echelon quarterback, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't quite happened. And he's got another new guy calling plays for him. So a little bit of a change for there. There's been not a lot of consistency on that side of it for him. But I think when you look over the last 5 games or so, he has improved. And coming off a comeback win from Sunday, and did some really nice things to end that ball game, and hoping that it'll continue here tonight.
It is 44 degrees. It is windy, so it feels a little bit chillier than 44. Jacksonville won the toss. They defer, so Tennessee will start this game with the football, and when they do, they will bring with them the 28th ranked offense in the NFL. It's week 14. Some great games all week long, and this weekend all the way through Monday night. And we will certainly have a look around the National Football League and the playoff picture in both conferences as this game rolls along. As we said a moment ago, for Tennessee, they're 6-6. They got there with that come from behind win last week here at home against the Jets. They had to bounce back from a 16-0 deficit and won the game inside the final minute on a 3rd down throw from Mariota to Corey Davis. You saw Mike Vrabel, and there is Doug Marrone, who was the interim coach for Jacksonville in 2016 last year. After going 1-1 as the interim head man, they went 10-6 and were oh so close to their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Now 4-8. Here's Darius Jennings, the best in the league at returning kicks. He crosses the 25, and Cody Davis downfield to make the stop after a 29-yard return. And here comes Marcus Mariota. That game-winning drive was the 12th that he put together last week against the Jets. You see his career numbers against Jacksonville. He likes playing against the Jaguars, but this, Troy, and I know you're going to get into it, this is still a very good Jaguars defense.
They sure are. People talked about what they did last week, and it was outstanding, but they've been good all year long.
They hand it to Dion Lewis, the free agent pickup from the Patriots, and Lewis gets a couple over the right side. So we'll look at this offense. As I said, 28th coming in. They were 23rd a year ago. They cleaned house with regard to the coaching staff, and the offensive line has not been good. In fact, Quentin Spain was benched mid-game last week, but he's back in there starting at left guard, and Ben Jones at his usual center spot. 2nd down and 8. Mariota to his left, fires, pass is caught, and that's Taywan Taylor. And with forward progress, they're going to give 1st down yardage to Taylor. Coming off a big game in his first career 100-yard game against the Jets. Here's the Jaguars defense. They are ranked 3rd overall. They're good up front. They've got Miles Jack in the middle at linebacker, the rookie Leon Jacobs, and then that secondary with Ronnie Harris in his 2nd straight start at strong safety. Barry Church not active in this game. He's lost his spot. Here's Lewis over the right side, and Dion Lewis gets 5.
Well, you see Marcus Mariota, like you talked about last week, Joe, and the comeback win, and a guy who's still kind of finding his way here in his fourth season. Talked about another different play caller for him this year, and Matt LaFleur, who's taken over as the offensive coordinator, his first time to call plays in the NFL. And Marcus has grown as he's gone through this season within this offense and has done some nice things, as I said, here over the last month to 5 games.
Trying to set up a screen, they do. Dion Lewis with a blocker in front, pretty well pursued by this Jaguar defense and Telvin Smith. A gain of 4, and it will be 3rd down and less than a yard for Tennessee on their opening possession.
I thought Dion Lewis maybe could have put his foot in the ground and got going up the field and picked up that 1st down instead of leaving it here 3rd and short.
Mariota, by the way, 8 for 8 rushing it, picking up a 1st down on 3rd and 1. 9 for 9. And in his career, 17 for 17 on 3rd or 4th and 1, rushing it to pick up a 1st down.
Yeah, that becomes a no-brainer then if you're calling, no matter who's calling plays for him.
Side knock! Forward! Side knock! Side knock!
Good protection. Pass is caught over the middle by Lewis, and a gain of just 3. As the play is made by Telvin Smith and Miles Jack. Smith, the top tackler for the 2nd straight season for these Jaguars.
You see Taywan Taylor, they run a double move and then a comeback off of it. A lot of times, obviously, you're going to continue to take it up the field. You mentioned his big game last Sunday. He had a chance. He won on the route, but Mariota just decided to check it down.
Mariota, Lewis again. He's been busy. Might go. Pursued and steps out of bounds. Knocked out by Leon Jacobs, and he saved a touchdown. There was nobody over there for Jacksonville.
Yeah, it looked like when Dion Lewis got this ball that it was going to be a house call, a perfect call by LaFleur. Pressure, they set it up nicely. Look at the blocking that he has out in front of him. There was nobody there. And as you said, Leon Jacobs, he's able to run him down and save a touchdown.
29-yard catch and run, and the Titans slide into the red zone. And hand to Derrick Henry. Down to the 5. And this impressive opening possession for the Titans continues after a carry of 14.
Well, Quentin Spain, you mentioned, he got benched in the 2nd half of last week's game, was put on notice coming into this game. He does a nice job comboing up to the 2nd level and opening a nice lane for Derrick Henry.
1st and goal from the 5. Henry again to the 3. This Tennessee offense is the 22nd ranked offense in the NFL, converting inside the red zone at 54%. Second and goal. Henry, he got it. Touchdown Titans. That is 6 rushing touchdowns for Derrick Henry, all in the last 7 games.
Well, it's a big physical back, and he's able to punch it in. And for a team that was unable to score a touchdown the last time these two teams met, to take the opening possession the length of the field, some good play calling, great execution. It's got to make Mike Vrabel extremely happy with the way they executed on that.
5.5 minutes off the clock. 10-play drive covering 73 yards. And now Jacksonville gives up points after throwing a shutout last week. Vrabel happy. From the Ohio State Buckeyes to the Tennessee Titans, the great Eddie George. And that running back combination, these two guys, Lewis and Henry, had 62 total yards on that opening drive and right into the end zone. That was a good start for a team that flat out has to have a win here tonight.
It was a great start, being able to run the football like that against a really good defensive unit and come away with a touchdown. That's going to set a lot of things up in their play action if they're able to continue to run the ball like that.
Rashad Green on the return, can't get to the 20. And well covered downfield by Trawick. As Brendan made the play, and it's just a return of 12 yards, and here comes Cody Kessler. He played well at USC and then was a third-round draft pick of the Cleveland Browns. He went 0-8, but is it really all his fault? I don't think so. And he got his first start since those Browns days last week. Wasn't dynamic, but got a win.
Got a win. It took me 12 starts to get my first win.
Well, there you go. He's way ahead of you. Kessler throws, and the pass is caught. Good throw, good catch as Dante Moncrief is brought down right at the marker, and they're going to give enough for a first down. Good throw here.
Sure was. That's a good way to start the ball game right there, is to be able to lay it out there and give his guy a chance to go get it. That's something they're encouraging Kessler to do as they move through this game. He's not turned the ball over. That's the good thing. But with that, he's been awfully conservative, and they're trying to get him to take some more shots when they're there.
Here's Fournette, suspended last week for that fight in Buffalo. So that's one missed game. He missed 6 games earlier with a bad hamstring. He has missed 10 overall of a possible 28 in his first 2 years in the league.
Well, he's a heck of a player when he's healthy, but unfortunately he's not been on the field as often as they would like, and a lot of other things, as Jags fans know, that have led to the struggles for this offensive team, and starting with the injuries on that offensive line.
Kessler flips it, pass is caught. Blake Bell and the tight ends got another first down. Well, they have just been ravaged up front on this Jaguars offense with injuries. They've got 3 starting offensive linemen now on IR. So this is a makeshift group, and that guy at left tackle, yep, that's the same one. Former first-round pick of the New York Giants, Eric Flowers, who Doug Marrone, by the way, has personally coached since he came to the Jaguars and thinks he has some potential. Fournette gets a yard. Well, leading into the game last week, which was a shutout win over Indianapolis, the Jaguars fired offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett and benched Blake Bortles. That meant that Scott Milanovich, who was coaching the quarterbacks, would take over as offensive coordinator, and Cody Kessler would get the start at the most important position on the field. That's what Troy tells me. Here's Fournette back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. 3rd down and 9. Kenny Vaccaro up to make that stop. It's the 9th-ranked defense. It's the number 6 scoring defense in the NFL. And this group will be coming at the Jaguars on 3rd and 9. Blitz coming. Kessler is sacked and a flag is thrown. Flowers was back there protecting. The sack by Byard. And it looks like it's going to count.
Holding. Offense number 75. Penalties decline. 4th down.
And it is on Flowers.
Well, they bring 4 weak, as you're going to see, and you just can't block them up. They're trying to get the back over there to help out, and Yeldon, he throws a whiff, but it wouldn't have mattered. Byard was going to clean it up regardless, and like you said, Joe, that's what Tennessee likes to do. They get you to 3rd and longs, and they're going to bring pressure, and they're going to make you execute.
Good punt here by the rookie Cook. Batson gets to the 20. And a 53-yard punt. Wired wasn't alone. Brings down Kessler. Titans have the lead in the football, and the home crowd happy. Mike Vrabel's defense gave up a couple of first downs, but they get a stop. As we will look at the AFC playoff picture, there are 4 teams currently at 6-6. 6-6 would not get you into the playoffs if it were to end today in the AFC, but there are those 4 teams that are waiting for a stumble from a team up ahead of them. Pittsburgh, the Chargers, Baltimore. Titans had 5 first downs the first time they had it. Pretty good run here by Henry. Shoves a couple of tacklers away and picks up 6. DJ Hayden with the tackle. And looking at the AFC playoff picture, top 2 seeds, the top 2 spots there on that graphic. Then Houston, winners of 9 straight. The Steelers are hanging on, but they've lost 2 in a row. And their schedule is not easy. So now you've got the LA Chargers, the Baltimore Ravens that are right there in the division as well, and those 4 teams at 6-6. They pulled that ball back a yard on that carry by Henry, so 2nd and 5. Flip to Corey Davis, and there's that rookie Leon Jacobs again. He can run, no gain on the play. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
You talk about these AFC playoffs, and like I was discussing there in the pregame, when you look at it and the teams that are ahead of Denver and then the Tennessee Titans, they've got a tough schedule. And I shouldn't say necessarily that Denver or Tennessee is the favorite, but I think when you look at their schedules, they certainly get a chance to. They all control their own destiny, but especially Tennessee, if they're able to win here tonight, and how things look going forward, it looks fairly favorable for him to get to 10.
3rd down and 5, and wide open as Davis makes the catch. Spins his way out of bounds, working against Boye, and gets 13 yards and a 1st down.
Well, watching him this week as we prepared for this game, I really like what I saw of him. He was a 1st-round pick from last year. He missed some time with some injuries, and he's only going to get better. He's continued to improve as he's gone through this season. He's got good size to him. Reminded me a lot of Sterling Sharp watching him with his size, and I guess also the fact that he wears 84, but very smooth in his ability to run routes, and I think he's got a bright future and obviously a good play there.
On 1st down, it's Lewis. And brought down at the 39. Tonight's Precision Players to Watch, presented by Gillette. We look at Leonard Fournette on the left side for the Jaguars and what he's done over the last 3 games. And Corey Davis on the right just had that 1st down reception. And he comes in with 52 catches, 744 yardage-wise. Here's Henry on 2nd and 8. He picks his way up to the 45, a gain of 6, where DJ Hayden taps him down.
It's a nice start for Derrick Henry, and the way that he is running the football. And this Tennessee team, they're going to continue to run the football whether they're having success or not, but they're doing some good things here in the early going.
3rd down and 2, and the pass is caught for a 1st down by Taywan Taylor. He's got the best speed on the outside for the Titans. Their downfield threat, 13 over the middle.
Well, when you have that kind of speed, and you've done what he did on Sunday, you really open up then the intermediate routes. And I like the tempo with which Tennessee is operating. They're getting to the line very quickly, and it gives Matt LaFleur an opportunity to talk to Mariota at the line if he chooses to do so. He's calling the plays directly into him.
Mariota rolls to his left, throws high, and he's picked. Intercepted by the rookie Harrison. And Ronnie Harrison, who had his 1st sack a week ago, has got his 1st pick in his 2nd start, and a return of 14 yards. Wide open, and Mariota missed him. Tajay Sharp, the intended target. And Ronnie Harrison there for the Jaguars. Jacksonville has it down 7. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm as we welcome you back to Nashville, Tennessee. Jaguars get only their 14th takeaway. They had 33 last year. That was second in the league. They're 13 this year, tied for the 11th fewest. But they get one early. And the pass caught by Fournette, stumbling as he made the grab, and now gets up and ends up losing on the play 4 yards as Landry is there. Back to the interception.
Well, some of the inconsistencies that we've talked about with Marcus Mariota, this is not a difficult throw. He's got an open guy in Tajay Sharp, and he just navigate Miles Jack and lay it over the top of him, and a ball that appeared to come out funny on his hands. It was obviously high, and Ronnie Harrison making his second start. Had a nice game last week and comes up with the interception to give this offense great field position.
Kessler now throws and has a man, but the pass broken up. That's O'Shaughnessy, and he was hit hard.
Really a nice throw by Kessler, laying it in there perfectly, and then O'Shaughnessy knows that there's going to be a collision, and they came in and just was able to knock. Adoree Jackson just knocks it right out. It's really a good play on Jackson's part, getting his hand in there and knocking it loose.
Jackson went over to the sideline for a moment. Kenny Vaccaro, who was in on that collision, down on a knee. And it was Vaccaro who knocked into Adoree Jackson. They'll check him. We'll take a break. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light at Nissan Stadium. Vaccaro's fine on the sideline, has to sit out of play. 3rd down and 14. Kessler hits Yeldon, and TJ Yeldon hurdles, can't get there. Went over one tackle and then was knocked out of bounds. Sims made the play, a gain of 10. Here's Sims coming up and over him a bit. But Sims will get credit for the tackle and a gain of 10, 4th down.
That's a great job on defense. On 3rd and 9, the first possession, they bring the blitz. That time just a 4-man rush. The ball comes out to Yeldon. They rally and make the tackle, and Jags unable to do anything with outstanding field position to begin that drive.
Batson muffs it, able to get back on it, and in the end zone where they're going to mark him, it's a safety. And the first points of the game for Jacksonville. He mucked it, initially touched it well outside the 5 and then went backward into the end zone and was swarmed.
He muffs it, and then once he's able to recover it, just stay in play. Just get up the field.
The call on the field is safety. Leon Jacobs was there, but he wasn't the only one. And the rookie Cameron Batson, in essence, gives up 2 points.
Yeah, just a big mistake by Batson, a young player that they really like, and he gets an opportunity after the muff, and he just doesn't take advantage of recovering the ball and just trying to get as much as he could out of it. You know, a game like this, the turnovers, the special teams obviously plays a big role, and they do here right now with 2 points.
Well, for Tennessee, they're coming off a brutal week. Craig Ackerman was hearing about his special teams. He's the coordinator. They had a punt blocked, a blocked extra point. They gave up a 61-yard kick return to the Jets. Overcame all that and got a win, but now they just handed Jacksonville 2 points.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is the fact that they were able to come back and overcome all those things.
Kern hits a knuckleball, and Moncrief is out of bounds near the 45. So good starting field position after an 8-yard return, and a flag is down on the far side of the field. It is sitting at the Tennessee 49-yard line with under a minute to go in the opening quarter. Kessler's made a couple of nice throws.
There is no foul for illegal formation on the receiving team. 1st and 10, Jacksonville.
And so Jacksonville takes over and marks Moncrief down at his own 44.
Hold on. Down. 59. Green 8. Big high.
Handoff to Fournette, breaks one tackle, lowers his shoulder, and on first down picks up 4. Derek Morgan on the stop.
Some tough running right there. The Titans, they're not giving up much. And so once again, Jacksonville with a possession with outstanding field position, and see if they can't get something going. It's been hard to come by. Points have been really all season long.
Well, if they do, it's not going to be in the first quarter, kids. Off to the second quarter we go in Nashville. Thursday Night Football back after this in a 7-2 game. Come back to Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light. He won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. He got the Jacksonville Jaguars up and running. Their head coach 95-02. Got them right to the postseason 96 through 99. And now back in the organization as the executive vice president of football operations. 2nd down and 6 and a handoff to Fournette. 3rd down coming up after a gain of 3. And of all the guys, Troy, that you and I have covered, I can't think of anybody you respect more than Tom Coughlin.
He's awesome, isn't he? He was always so honest with us when he was the head coach with the New York Giants. I had a chance to visit with him this morning about some of the struggles this year, and he still wears his emotions out there on his sleeves. And very passionate about the game, very involved, as you can tell right here. He watches tape during the week. He helps. He goes to all the meetings. He's very, very active. You know that he's dying not being on the sidelines as a head coach for somebody. But he's enjoyed being in Jacksonville, kept his home there when he got let go. And he's got a foundation there that's doing great as well.
On 3rd down, the pass is caught inside the 30 by D.D. Westbrook. Good throw with Kessler moving to his left, and he finds Westbrook for 22.
Well, they're starting to get a few of those chunk plays, you know, and Westbrook, there wasn't a whole lot there. Kessler on the move, not an easy throw to make. Sliding to his left with a receiver running from left to right, but he lays it up there perfectly, and Westbrook able to make a play on the ball.
At USC, Cody Kessler threw for over 10,000 yards, 88 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. That was it. 3rd round pick of the Browns. 2nd start now with Jacksonville. Slings it, pass is caught, and maybe inches inside the 20 is Dante Moncrief for 9.
I think if you look at Cody Kessler and the 8 starts that he had as a rookie there with the Cleveland Browns, one of those was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was his best game as a rookie. He threw for over 300 yards in that game, and then he came off the bench last year against the Jags. So for a guy with limited playing time, he has seen the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple times, and he's had some success against them.
1st down carry by Fournette. How about more? Nope. How about more in the way of a penalty flag? This Jacksonville team has been penalized a lot.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 10. 10-yard penalty replay. 2nd down.
They came in with 825 penalty yards, 3rd most in the NFL, and after just showing Tom Coughlin, you think that doesn't drive him nuts?
There's no doubt. And oh man, there's not a whole lot there. I don't know. I don't see it. I think what Tom Coughlin is most upset about, Joe, is they've had so many personal foul penalties that have cost him games.
2nd down and 6. Kessler was looking for Yeldon and now throws, and how in the world did Westbrook hang on to that? When Doug Marrone talked to us about D.D. Westbrook, the first word he used to describe him was tough, and he just proved it.
Yeah, he's got some talent, too. He was a 4th-round pick. He fell in the draft. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist at one point in college, and you mentioned he was looking for Yeldon, and it's probably good. Yeldon wasn't looking for the ball, and I don't know that Kessler saw that there was good coverage on him, made him go to Westbrook, and ended up being a decent play on the, or decent gain on the play.
Got 10 yards and a first down. So the first down they lost on that iffy call on Moncrief, they get right back. Kessler steps through some trouble and throws to the sideline where it's caught by O'Shaughnessy. The catch is good for a gain of 7.
That's really nice work and by Cody Kessler. There's pretty good edge pressure coming off the corner, and he's able to step up. He's not going to scare anybody really as far as scrambling and running with the ball, but O'Shaughnessy's able to work back to him, and he keeps the play alive. We've seen some times now with Kessler out of the pocket making some good decisions and some accurate throws.
Second down and 3.
54, 54. Green 80.
Handoff to Fournette, and he looks to be short of first down yardage by 1. So 3rd and 1 coming up. You alluded to it. And if you're Cody Kessler and you're getting a shot here, let it go. If you see it, throw it. And that's what Doug Marrone told him last week in the win. Everything was short. Only 4 passes against the Colts traveled more than 10 yards in the air, and it's a different story already.
That is, and they're putting together a nice drive right here. 3rd and short, see if they can keep it going and come away with something more than a field goal attempt. They got to go get this bread.
Green 80.
Kessler keeps and fights. Looked like he got enough with that surge, and with the officials walking in, he did, to set a 1st and goal. Well, now that official veered a little bit. It's close. And we may have a measurement.
Yeah, it sure looks like it. They're calling to have him come in and take a look.
And that official on the far side started trotting in with enough for first down yardage. I don't know about the spot. It was a rather conservative spot on top of that, as Kessler kept those knees up and looked like he got it, but we'll see.
Yeah, he's short. I got to believe Doug Marrone, where this team is right now and the struggles they've had, I would think that he's going to go for it.
What do you think? Just do it again?
Yeah.
4th down and inches. You're 4 and 8. Divisional game. It's
like
really an easy choice.
Yeah, it's like what you said about Cody Kessler. I mean, just let it rip.
Just go. 3 tight ends in there for Jacksonville. Jaguars 6 for 12 on 4th down so far this season. About 2 inches, 3 inches short. They carry it with Kessler. And this time, clearly enough for a first down to officially set up 1st and goal with under 9.5 to go in the half.
Pretty good look at it there. Kessler does really a great job. As a quarterback, if they've got those gaps covered on each side of the guard or each side of the center, then you got to be able to navigate that a little bit. He does. He takes a step back, he works over one gap, and he's able to pick it up.
Push it down.
Ball just inside the 3. Here's Fournette. Well played. And it's Morgan and Jarrell Casey combining for that stop. Jarrell Casey has been to the last 3 Pro Bowls. Good player. And Doug Marrone mentioned him in the same breath with Aaron Donald, who, by the way, leads the NFL with 16.5 sacks.
I think Jarrell Casey's an excellent player. He hasn't been overlooked by the fact, like you said, that he's been voted to the last 3 Pro Bowls. But I think as far as NFL fans, a guy who is very underrated.
Second down and goal. Fournette left side. How about that play? Woodyard was in there along with Logan Ryan. No gain, 3rd down and goal.
Just no movement at all on that left side. Eric Flowers, he's unable to get any kind of push, and he gets driven back. It widens it out, and here they come. Fournette has no chance on that play.
Austin Johnson, the initial contact on Fournette. 13th play of this drive. 3rd down and goal.
Green 80. Is that?
Kessler rolls out. Looking underneath, and the pass is broken up. Tommy Bohannon was the target. And if Marone went for it on 4th and inches, he's going to go for it here, it appears, on 4th and goal.
Well, they had a chance if they've got an opportunity as soon as Kessler comes off of this, and if they're able to get it to Bohannon, but Bohannon doesn't help them much. He kind of throttles it down a little bit rather than continuing to run, and that should not have been a hard touchdown to connect on.
7th play from the 7-yard line or closer. And they hand to Fournette. What a job by the Titan defense. Rashaan Evans, the first one through. Brilliant work by Tennessee's defense. And the Titans take over. More frustration for Doug Marone, down 5. A 14-play drive that covered 55 yards in almost 8.5 minutes, and they come away with no points.
Nada. How about that defensive stop? They're the #1 red zone defense, the Titans are, in the NFL, and they flex their muscle there.
Well, there's already been one safety in this half. Drive starts at the 1 and looking for a little breathing room, and they get that and plenty more. Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Well, you're going to see that Jaguars, they collapse on that left side, and Derrick Henry's just able to find a little bit of a crease, and then he's able to get down that sidelines 99 yards. Images of Tony Dorsett on Monday Night Football right there.
Boy, he just threw Boye away right there and was not going to be denied. Back after this. Well, if you were watching when Derrick Henry went 99 yards, you witnessed the second ever 99-yard touchdown run in the history of the league. Tony Dorsett, as Troy mentioned, against Minnesota for Dallas in 1983. The only other one to do it. There were missed tackles throughout. Meanwhile, there was an injury with Jonnu Smith, who was blocking the tight end. Here is a missed extra point on the part of Ryan Suckup, and we are going to look at everything now that we're on the other side of the break. Talk about a double gut punch here. First of all, Tennessee makes a stop on 4th and goal after Jacksonville had 1st and goal from the 3. Fournette was frustrated on the bench. The blocking wasn't there, and then on the first play, bang.
Yeah, Rashaan Evans, he makes the key stop on that 4th down, and then here you see the crease. This is the little crease there that Henry needed. A.J. Boye, he's there to make a play, stiff arms him, and then you got Leon Jacobs, and Miles Jack also has an opportunity on him. Now, Derrick Henry, he's bigger than both those linebackers, but still, I mean, he made them look like kids. Throwing them around, look like Marshawn Lynch, and that's unbelievable right there. And then you got Jonnu Smith, who is, you know, he's limping off. He got rolled up, and it's a shame. We'll find out what his situation is. But a guy who was really coming along here in recent weeks, a young talent that they were watching grow right in front of their eyes, and looks like his night might be over.
And then at the end of all that, a missed extra point. That's 13-2.
That's right. Well, hey, this Titans offense, I mean, you look at what they did the last time these two teams met in week 3. They just had about 230 yards of offense, and here in the first half they've already got over 200 yards with still 7 minutes left to play. So there's already been more points scored in this game than I anticipated coming in.
That's about as bad 4 plays in a row as you can have. Here's a pass caught by D.D. Westbrook. Offensively, couldn't pound it in from 3 with a 1st and goal and give up a 99-yard touchdown run. Take a look at tonight's quarterback comparison presented by Kay Jewelers and Kessler and Mariota. There are the numbers, and stay tuned for the 2-minute warning for a special look into Kurt Warner's journey to the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's been a while since Mariota then has thrown that pass that was intercepted, and he's had a good night with the exception of the one that got away.
Here's Fournette with a 1st down carry. Vaccaro made the stop with under 6.5 to go in the half.
We showed Rashaan Evans and the stop that he made there on 4th down, the rookie linebacker, their 1st-round pick out of Alabama. And I tell you, I really like what I've seen from him. He was a tackling machine at Alabama. He was the 3rd linebacker taken, number 22 overall, behind Roquan Smith, who went to Chicago, and then Leighton Vander Esch, who went to Dallas. 2 bright young players, but some think this guy might have been better than both of those.
Kessler throws, shown a good fastball tonight. Pass is caught by Dante Moncrief for 9. In just 2 days, the MLS Cup will be lifted in front of one of the most electric crowds in all of sports. Atlanta United take on the Portland Timbers Saturday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, or watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app.
Let's go, 54, 54. Down. Green 80. Green set.
2nd down and 1. Fournette dancing around, but gets the 1st down. Gain of 2. This year with Leonard Fournette, Jacksonville has played 5 games coming in. They're 2-3. Average 23 points a game. Without 7 games, a record of 2-5, and they've averaged 13 points per game and 82 rush yards per game, compared to just under double when Fournette's available. 1st down and 10, and Carlos Hyde is in the backfield for the Jaguars. Pressure off the edge. The pass is caught by Moncrief, and he's into Titan territory.
We showed kind of how this season started for Jacksonville. Like we talked about, going to the AFC Championship game last year and then starting off this season, and they got off to a 3-1 start. They were 2-0. They'd come off a big win against the New England Patriots, and then, of course, they played Tennessee, and they lost that game. And it was in that game where they only had 2 field goals that you talk to people in the organization, they believe that that's kind of when some doubt started to creep in, even though they came back the following week and beat the Jets, that just thought maybe they were going to have a hard time scoring points, and that turned out to be the case.
Pass is caught by Hyde, and he gets smothered. Play made by Evans again. A loss of 2. And Eric Flowers almost guilty of a hold. No flag on the play.
This Tennessee defense, they're just flying around, and Rashaan Evans, you see the job he's able to do finishing them off after Adoree Jackson comes in and takes them low.
Brings up 3rd down and 6. Blitz. Kessler tripped up and down he goes. Play made by Casey. He turned 29 yesterday, and he's now got 6.5 sacks on the year.
Well, they run a move, and they're going to do a twist, and you got A.J. Cann, the right guard, and he's unable to hang in there as he's trying to come off it. He's hoping that his right tackle, Jeremy Parnell, is going to be sliding back in to help. It's a good twist on that defensive front. Casey's able to get home.
Logan Cook. It's a beauty. Checks up inside the 10. Tapped down by Quentin Meeks. And the defense flexing its muscles for Mike Vrabel. Here with the Titans, frustrating Cody Kessler as the Titans lead by 11. Well, let's look at what happened to the great state of Florida. They started 6-0 with those three teams through the first 2 weeks. First time since '97, but 9-21 for those three squads. Bortles has been benched. Tannehill missed 5 games. Tampa Bay, among 2 quarterbacks, thrown 22 interceptions.
All those people from Tampa Bay and Miami and those organizations are saying, hey, thanks for reminding us.
Yeah, whatever. Get over it. Here's a pass incomplete. Out of bounds for Tajay Sharp. I can say it. Why? Because I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida. So I'm
there you go. You're covered.
Ripping on my home state.
You look at Derrick Henry in his first half, coming into this game, just 200-yard games, rushing in 43 career games, and with that 99-yard run, obviously over 100 yards here in this first half. It's good to see. I know when you talk to Mike Vrabel and what they're wanting to do, and Matt LaFleur, and trying to get him to run a little bit more physical, he was sure physical on that run.
Mariota finds the tight end, and Stocker is wrapped up short of a first down. Titans have their first 100-yard rusher in their now 17th game. They came in with none over their previous 16 games. A 99-yarder for Derrick Henry. And now a unique look at Kurt and Brenda Warner's story, sponsored by Kay Jewelers. Some images from tonight as we welcome you back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. Nashville, Tennessee, the 6-6 Titans leading. Tennessee 3 for 3 on third downs in this game. There is young Matt LaFleur, who was interviewed to be the head coach and then came on the staff put together by Mike Vrabel as the offensive coordinator. Was with the Rams last year. They snap it quick. Mariota bangs into his offensive lineman and is tripped up short of first down yardage. He went into the body of Quinton Spain, and once that happened, it was over, as Miles Jack is there to get credit for the tackle.
Yeah, Jacksonville finally able to make a stop. And you know, you talk about Matt LaFleur, and yeah, he was with the Rams and was with McVay in Washington. He's worked under some really good offensive minds with Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan, and we know what Sean McVay's been able to do in Los Angeles. Everybody who's been exposed to that system is a hot commodity, and Matt LaFleur no different coming here this year. And you know, the philosophy, you think of the Rams and even a little bit with Kyle Shanahan and what he wants to do, they're really about running the football. It's the influence from Mike Shanahan and his background, and LaFleur's no different, and that's what Mike Vrabel wants to do as a defensive coach himself.
Good punt here by Kern, driving Westbrook back, and it is well covered to the delight of Joshua Kalu. 60-yard punt. We ask you to stay tuned for the Toyota halftime. Michael, Terry, and Howie from the streets of New York, and looking ahead to a big Sunday in the NFL. Really anywhere you look in Week 14 this weekend. Some important matchups in these playoff races.
Well, this is when it gets fun. You get down to the last month of the season and everything's right out in front of you. There's no confusion on what each team has to be able to do, and there's a lot of great matchups, like you said, coming up.
Jacksonville took a timeout after that third down stop. They have 2 left, and the clock will stop with this incompletion to Keelan Cole. 2nd and 10. Give you an injury update with Leon Jacobs, questionable to return with a quad injury, and Jonnu Smith questionable with a knee, but that didn't look good at all. on the 99-yard touchdown run by Derrick Henry to tie an NFL record. Only been done once before. Blitz. Pass is out of the range of Keelan Cole on this side of the field. It's 3rd and 10. First 4 possessions for the Jaguars. Punt, turned it over on downs. A punt, and now 3rd and long.
Well, Logan Cook punted 6 times the last time they played, and he's already got 3 here in this first half.
Here's one aired out. Moncrief can't make the catch. Malcolm Butler in coverage. It's a quick 3 and out, and Tennessee will get it back with 3 timeouts.
It sure looked like Moncrief had a chance for this one. He's able to get past Butler, and I mean, that's a really well thrown ball. You just stretch out, lay out a little bit, and that was a very catchable ball for him.
And that was a 16-second drive by Jacksonville. Ugly punt by Cook. His worst of the game so far. And good field position for Tennessee, up 11 with 3 timeouts. They'll start at their own 35.
Yeah, so Tennessee now they got plenty of time. Jacksonville did the right thing. They called timeout after the 3rd down play when they made the stop defensively, but yeah, offense, they just couldn't get anything generated, and now with 3 timeouts, 1:17 to go, good field position. See whether or not Mariota and this offense can add to their 11-point lead. It's just Tennessee's 5th play coming up here in this 2nd quarter.
They got 99 on one play.
Yeah,
and here's another
helps.
look at that 3rd and 10 throw.
Yeah, it was really a well thrown ball.
That last drive by Jacksonville was shorter in time than the Derrick Henry run. Took Henry 18 seconds to go 99 yards. Took Jacksonville 16 seconds to go 3 and out. Mariota to his left. The pass is caught. And staying in bounds is Sharp. And we have seen some brutal tackling by the Jaguars in this half. And let's take another look. We're inside 2 minutes. And they're going to review that from up above.
It looked like it might have hit the ground from here when it happened in real time. And that's going to come back incomplete.
We'll be right back after this from Progressive and Verizon.
Hand, not on with possession of the football. It's an incomplete pass. Please reset the game clock to 1:12, 2nd down.
So the call on the field was catch. And they review it and overturn the call. It'll be 2nd and 10 with 1:12 left and the ball at the Titans 35. By the way, Jacksonville gets the 2nd half kickoff. Four-man rush. Mariota steps into it. Flag on the coverage. Corey Davis was the target with the rookie Harrison in coverage, and he knows he committed the foul.
Yeah, double move right there. And Corey Davis, as you're going to see, number 84, he starts to the inside.
Defense, number 36. Automatic 1st down.
That's the rookie Ronnie Harrison, and he just knew he was beat. That was a good penalty on his part, and he's starting to peek in there a little bit and trying to jump a route. A good call there by Matt LaFleur, taking advantage of the young player there in the secondary. But again, a good penalty by Ronnie Harrison. Just didn't want to give up the touchdown.
It goes down as a 20-yard penalty. It moves the ball to the Jacksonville 45. Quick throw out on the edge. Taylor makes a move, another missed tackle, and more. For a Jacksonville defense that prides itself on being rough, tough, hard to face, they have missed some tackles tonight.
Yeah, they have. DJ Hayden, he misses another one. He missed the one where the ball hit the ground that didn't count, but he comes up there, overplays it, and just unable to get him to the ground. DJ Hayden, he missed quite a few games there in the middle of the season, and they missed him a lot. And he's a good player, but you're right, there's just been too many missed tackles. Obviously the ones that hurt him the most was the run by Henry.
Looks like it's against the defense and Smoot.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty results, first down.
So DeJuan Smoot now gives the Titans a first down by penalty.
Well, they used the hard count. You could hear Mariota use it. Smoot upset with himself, and the penalties continue.
Under a minute to go. Tennessee has not had to use a timeout yet. Blitz with Miles Jack coming after Mariota. Pass is caught. That's Taylor. Clock runs. No timeout taken yet. 2nd and 2.
Yeah, Mariota, if he had been able to hit Taylor in stride, Jalen Ramsey was in coverage, but he may have gone to the house. There, he had a lot of room in front of him to run.
Timeout now taken after a few seconds ticked away, and we'll be right back after this from Geico. 2nd down and 2 with 42 seconds left, and now 2 timeouts for Tennessee. Tennessee's won 5 of the last 6 head-to-head meetings between these divisional rivals. Mariota, pass is caught, first down and more. Corey Davis takes it into the red zone, a gain of 8 where Ronnie Harrison brings him down.
Well, they motion Corey Davis across the formation. No one runs with him. Mariota then knows immediately that he's in zone coverage. He sits it down and an easy completion.
Here's Lewis out of the backfield, stops the clock with 19 seconds left. DJ Hayden forced him out, a gain of just 2. 2nd and 8.
Well, they got timeout, so they can do whatever they want. 19 seconds, you got to contend with that, but they can take some shots. They can hit it underneath, call the timeout. The whole playbook is at Mariota's disposal.
Lewis again. Smith knocks him out of bounds, and a short gain. Now 15 seconds left, a gain of maybe 1, or it's 3rd down. Don't know about that call. Willing to dump it off, and a short gain, so now 3rd down and 7 with 15 seconds and 2 timeouts.
Jacksonville likes this 4 across coverage down here in this red zone area. You can work. He's got Mariota. He's going to call timeout here and reassess it.
So Tennessee has to take a timeout with the clock stopped. Tomorrow morning on NFL Network, Kate, Kay, Nate, Kyle, and Peter have all the news and trending topics from the football world and beyond. Good Morning Football tomorrow at 7. Only on NFL Network. You will head home, Troy, and be back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I don't want to be too specific on exactly where you live, but we will be in Arlington, Texas on Sunday for that battle in the NFC East between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Should be fun.
Yeah, that's one of those big matchups that you alluded to a little bit earlier, and it should be great. Philadelphia had a chance, kind of knocked the Cowboys out of the out of the race about a month ago, and they failed to. And now the Eagles, they're going to have to win one on the road to climb back in themselves.
Here's one to the end zone and on the wrong page of the playbook. Titans looking for a flag. They don't get it, and it'll be 4th and 7. Sharp, the closest one to it, but he stopped.
Yeah, he stopped. Just a miscommunication. They had Corey Davis, and he's working the middle, and I could have drove one in on him. That 4-across stuff, it doesn't make it real easy to hit some of those seam routes, but there was an opening for him. But still, if they're able to hit this and come away with points, pretty good execution there after they were able to stop Jacksonville here before the half.
This is extra point distance, and Ryan Suckup, who missed his second extra point of the year earlier in the half, knocks it through. And it is a 16-2 game. The Jaguars will get it to start the second half, and this is the turning point, no doubt, with that goal line stand. A stop on 4th and goal. Couple of runs, the incompletion. They go back to Fournette. He gets stuffed. Leonard's not happy. Neither is Tom Coughlin. See, I didn't lie. And then on the first play going the other way, 99 yards later, Derrick Henry ties an NFL record.
Well, they ran the ball off that left side, and that's the side that has had all the changes. They're starting their 4th left tackle this year, and Patrick Omame, he's getting the start at left guard after Norwell went down. 3 starters on IR, and it's hard then to run the football, and that's been proven. And this Tennessee defense steps up on 4th down, something that we saw last week from Jacksonville 3 different times. The Colts tried going for it on 4th and 1 and failed all 3 times.
We are 1 snap away from the Toyota halftime. You know, you look at this score, 16-2, and you see and are aware that it's the second start for Cody Kessler, and you think he's not playing well, and I think he's made some good throws.
Well, I do too. I think he's made some really good throws, and he's kind of fighting for his life back there.
So that'll do it. Jaguars will get it to start the second half, but in a game the Titans need, they lead it by 14. Stay tuned. The Toyota halftime is coming up.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football schedules.
Thursday night football swings into Music City, USA.
I found you.
Henry, he got it. Touchdown Titans.
Cody Kessler needs to prove himself.
99 yards. Unbelievable.
Second half starts now.
That was tonight's game flow, brought to you by Progressive in a 16-2 game, and the Jaguars are going to try to jump right back in this game right now. But man, that game just turned, and there was Jacksonville with an opportunity to take the lead. They don't pound it in, and then they just give up a 99-yarder, and like that, this thing was dominated by the Titans.
Yeah, in one play. And I think, though, however, if you look at Tennessee and the job that they were able to do, they've taken it to Jacksonville, not only on the 99-yard run. The offensive line has really been outstanding in the job that they've done in being able to create a push. It started with this screen pass. You're going to see Josh Klein, number 64, who he's going to be out in front. I mean, he's almost outrunning the back on that play. Shows a lot of athleticism. Then, of course, the push in the cutback lane from Derrick Henry. Here's the 99-yard run that you said really turned things around, with Jacksonville with an opportunity to kind of take control and take the lead there in that first half. But Mike Vrabel's got to be awfully pleased with an offense that has struggled throughout the season, an offensive line that has had some issues, and yet they've played very, very well.
Well, that's going to be a not fun film session for this Jaguar defense, looking back at this first half. But there's a half to go, and we'll see if Jacksonville can get back in it with Rashad Green waiting for the kick. to the 25, down to Christina Pink.
Well, Joe, you guys talked about that in the first half. Despite the scoreboard not reflecting it, Cody Kessler isn't having a bad game in his second start. Doug Marrone agreed. He said he's looked more comfortable, made some good throws, and showed some escapability under pressure. He said the issue is we have to stop the run. That 99-yard touchdown run was a game changer. He said it was a turning point. Ended up being a 14-point swing when they couldn't punch it in inside the red zone. He surprisingly was calm, cool, and collected despite the deficit at halftime.
Well, and only 98 yards in that first half, so 1 yard less than that one run by Derrick Henry from the 25. Here's Fournette. And Fournette, we've seen his frustration on the sideline. A flag is down. It's a hold, and this one's coming back.
Holding. Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty replay. First down.
Troy, from the top down, this is a Jacksonville team that was built to run the football, and they've had all these injuries on their offensive line. Not to make excuses, but when their left tackle Cam Robinson went down early, Brandon Linder, the center, Andrew Norwell, their big free agent pickup, it's tough, and they've had to bench their starting quarterback. This has been an offensive year that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, there's a lot to address. Tom Coughlin and company are going to have their hands full with some of the things they've got to do in this offseason.
Good throw by Kessler out to the 30, and Keelan Cole for 15 yards. Hello, Aaron Andrews.
Hi, and what did Mike Vrabel tell us on our conference call that they needed to do against this team? Well, play fast, play physical, play with the lead, run the ball, and pressure the quarterback. He said we've done all those things. What he'd like to see more of with this offense is better job sustaining drives. And for his defense that's out there, he said we need to get off the field earlier. The Jags can really run the ball. They did that against Buffalo a couple weeks ago to try to get back in that game.
They hand it to Fournette, and he plows ahead through Morgan, but a flag is down again. It's another hold against the Jaguars.
Well, you can see the frustration from Leonard Fournette as well.
Offense number 75. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Yeah, this time it's Eric Flowers, the left tackle, but Leonard Fournette, he has a couple good runs, and both of them have been called back here on this opening possession to start this second half. It's maddening. The penalties in general throughout this season, and Joe, you touched on it, the offensive line clearly, then you're without Leonard Fournette, but they have to address this quarterback situation. When you have a philosophy of running the football, playing great defense, that's great, but it's a hard way to win consistently in today's game. They've got to get that quarterback thing figured out.
Here's a pass to Moncrief. He was going up the sideline. Incomplete, 3rd and 15. Started to say that was looked like a nothing hold on the part of Flowers. Mike Pereira, they threw the flag. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, Joe, neither did I. And I have to tell you, they've made a point of emphasis on holding. Now, last week, there was a ton of holding calls, and this is the third one we've seen already. It's the officiating department trying to get more holding calls. They're trying to pick up more, but that certainly wasn't a good one if it was number 75.
Pick up more. It's like telling me to quote on speeding tickets. I mean, good gosh, there's enough flags in this league as it is.
Pass is caught. O'Shaughnessy is dumped. And the play by Adoree Jackson, a gain of 4, and because of a couple of penalties, that drive goes nowhere for the Jaguars. 4th down.
Yeah, there was some promise, but yeah, with the penalties after, like I said, a couple nice runs, it goes nowhere.
Jacksonville now 1 for 8 on 3rd down in this game.
I'll be honest with you, Mike, I didn't like hearing that they say they want holding penalties up. I mean, sometimes the league can't get out of their own way.
Here is Adoree Jackson on the return, breaking a couple of tackles and out across the 30 to the 33. 9-yard return. Tennessee has it, leading by 14. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light at Nissan Stadium. First possession of the second half for the Titans. Coming off that come from behind win over the Jets, sitting at 6-6 and alive in the playoff conversation. Here's Henry. Derrick Henry, who's had a big night already, gets 2.
Well, you talk about the playoff hopes, and you know, if you're Tennessee, you have to assume you got to run the table, and if you do that, I think you've got a real good shot at it. Here's Mike Vrabel, and to get you to 10 wins, and they're able to continue and win this ball game. They go to New York next week, and then they're at home against Washington and Indianapolis. That Indianapolis game could decide a lot of things.
Play action from Mariota, airs it out downfield. That's Taylor. Can't make the catch, no flag. Coverage by Jalen Ramsey.
He had a real shot at it too. It was a ball that gave him an opportunity. He inside releases. He does a good job of climbing back on top of Ramsey, and obviously should have caught the ball. Just a missed opportunity. He had the 2 big catches last week. Had an opportunity for a big touchdown that Mariota missed him on, but that was one he should have had.
Jaguars showing blitz. Miles Jack comes on the blitz, and the pass is caught by Anthony Firkser.
Firkser makes a heck of a play on this ball. It looked like he was being held coming out of this route by Ronnie Harrison, and he's able to just play through it. He's a guy who's shown up a little bit as well. In the last 3 games coming into this, he's had a 20-yard reception in each one of those. So he's had some big plays here in recent weeks for him.
Fake toss, pass is caught. Taylor. Another missed tackle, and a first down is the result. Telvin Smith had a chance to bring down Taylor, and the littler receiver went right through the linebacker.
Just completely overruns it, and Taylor able to get some extra yardage. You know, there was a time, I think this defense, like I said, they've been good all season, but I think there was a time that maybe we're trying to do a little too much.
Henry on first down picks up 3 and now has a new career high in rushing for a game. A 99-yarder will help you along those lines. 134 yards in the game for Henry.
Yeah, that's pretty nice, especially when you only have had 8 carries. So you know, have a career high on 8 carries. That's pretty good, averaging just under 17 yards a carry. But I was talking about this defense. Yeah, maybe with an offense that has struggled, you start trying to do too much. I don't think that's been the case here tonight either. You got them backed up. You give up 99 yards, and they've overlooked a lot of plays.
Little wildcat formation, a direct snap to Henry, and he runs through more tackles. Mariota lined up wide to the left. Direct snap to Henry, and he gets 15.
Well, 250 pounds, and he's just taking it right up the gut. And tell you what, for a defense that's as good as what this one is, they've looked pretty average here tonight, and they have been terrible making tackles.
Again, Henry lined up for the snap. Again, he takes it. And Henry is getting big chunks of yardage every time he touches it. Flag is down.
Holding offense number 78. 10-yard penalty replay. First down.
That was for you, Mike.
It's a hold against Jack Conklin, and the first Titans penalty of the game. Conklin was an All-Pro as a rookie 2 years ago.
Yeah, other than Jack Conklin, they've been pretty healthy on that offensive line. He missed the first 3 games of the season. We talked about all the injuries that the Jaguars have had along their offensive front. Hasn't been the case with Tennessee.
Mariota has a man. Taylor, he's been busy. Missed 3 games with a foot injury, and working against Jalen Ramsey gets 13 more yards.
Pretty good timing there by Mariota getting the ball out. Ramsey playing pretty soft coverage, respecting Taylor's speed.
Another long drive here. 3 tight end set for the Titans. 2nd and 7. Lewis. And he is swallowed up in the backfield. Deshaun Gibson was there, was not alone. Well, folks, the holidays are upon us, and tomorrow on Fox, Last Man Standing will make your season merry and bright with an all-new Christmas event. Tim Allen jingles all the way with Last Man Standing, followed by the Cool Kids tomorrow on Fox. Malik Jackson got through on that last play. Calais Campbell, Deshaun Gibson. Jaguars need more of that. 3rd down and 11 now. Mariota slides through. Leaps, depends on where they mark it. And they're going to give him enough for a 1st down.
Well, Mariota, he's their 3rd leading rusher on the team coming into this game, and that's the element that he gives. He's been doing it since he was in college, and the things open up, and we've got, as soon as you start talking about the offensive line being injury-free, you've got Taylor Lewan going down.
They'll check on him 1st down when we come back. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. 1st down for Tennessee. Taylor Lewan went down, and now you can see that hit to the head. He is in the blue tent on the sideline as Dennis Kelly comes into the lineup for him. He's out at left tackle. Henry gets it, goes right through the heart of the defense. Touchdown. Third of the night for Derrick Henry.
Well, good blocking up front. You're going to see the hole that is created, and Telvin Smith, number 50, he's going to have an opportunity to come in and make a play right there. He's not able to do it, and it just looked like on the back end they didn't want any part of it.
6'3", 247. And into the end zone he went. For Derrick Henry, 10 carries, 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. Putting on a show here tonight. Titans up 21. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. Great city of Nashville, Tennessee. They love their football. They love their hockey around here. The Nashville Predators are awesome.
And they love their country music, too.
Boy, I've read that. Yep, they sure do. Yes, they do. There's the drive. Career high 3 rushing touchdowns on top of the career high night for Derrick Henry. At 16.5 yards a carry for Henry on a 165-yard rushing night. Well, next Thursday is our final Thursday game for the season on Fox, and it's a battle in the AFC West. The 9-3 Chargers go to Kansas City to take on the 10-2 Chiefs as they stand right now. That's next Thursday night. Chargers and Chiefs on Fox, NFL Network, Amazon Prime Video.
Green 80. Here's that.
From the 25, Kessler having to play catch up, and that one nearly picked. Moncrief the target with Kenny Vaccaro. Almost coming away with a pick. Look at some of these numbers, and 2 guys that are certainly in the MVP conversation. Phillip Rivers, he's found the fountain of youth, and Patrick Mahomes defines youth. 41 touchdowns. with 10 picks. I can't wait to watch those two go head to head.
No, it's going to be great, and the reason that those teams are where they are right now is because of the way those two quarterbacks have been playing, and we haven't seen Phillip Rivers in a while, and we haven't seen Mahomes yet. Should be a lot of fun.
Here's one downfield. Good throw to Cole. Beautifully dropped in there by Kessler with coverage by Butler. It was good. Just a perfect throw.
Yeah, perfect throw. Keelan Cole is one of those guys who came on big last year at the end of the season and then into the postseason, and it really just hasn't done much here recently, and they wanted to try to give him some more shots, see if they couldn't get some plays out of him, and that was a pretty good contested ball by Malcolm Butler, and yet Cole able to make the play. That's good to see.
That's a season-long 35-yarder for Cole. Good throw. Handoff to Fournette. Cuts back. Sure, he's waiting for a flag to be thrown. Instead, it's a 5-yard gain, and Sean Evans made the stop for the Titans. Back to that catch.
Yeah, well, this is one of those big plays that have just been hard to come by for Jacksonville. Not only this year, but last year also. And that's just great concentration with Malcolm Butler having his arm in there and yet able to wrestle it away and come down with it. But when you come down with big plays like that, generally they lead to points. It puts them down here in great position. That's why it's been hard for Jacksonville to really generate much scoring this year.
Look out, Cody Kessler. Ball is out. Right now it's ruled a fumble, and the Titans got on top of it. The sack for Casey, and Sharif Finch came out of there with a football.
I don't even know what Jacksonville was doing up front.
Casey in there, Finch as well, and Finch recovered the fumble. No help for Cody Kessler. Well, Cody Kessler has had no chance tonight. The knees are up, not on the ground. The ball comes out. Finch not only recovered it, he forced it. And there's Jarrell Casey again for Tennessee.
Like I said, looking at that protection, you could give me an hour to try to break it down, and I couldn't tell you what they were trying to accomplish. They turned Jarrell Casey completely loose. They got two guys blocking, one outside rusher, and Cody Kessler said, "Thank you very much."
We may have the time for you to go through it. Here's Henry. What a night! Henry! He is gone for the touchdown, his fourth.
See Jalen Ramsey come in from this side. They're dropping the safety down, and once Jalen Ramsey gets outflanked by Henry, there's just nobody left out there to contain, and that's the second time tonight we've seen on the very first play of a possession Derrick Henry make a house call.
And this one sneaks in off the foot of Ryan Suckup. 11 seconds for another score for Henry, and we'll be right back after this from Verizon. Well, at the end of that touchdown run, a Heisman Trophy pose for the Heisman Trophy winner, Derrick Henry, back in 2015. In the 2016 draft, the Cowboys, with the number 4 pick, selected Ezekiel Elliott. He's run for over 3,700 yards since. The next running back taken in that draft was Derrick Henry. But 41 picks later, at 45th overall, he's rushed for just over 1,700 yards in his NFL career. The flag is down on this kick. It maybe hasn't gone exactly as Derrick Henry had hoped, or the Titans had hoped when they picked him as the second running back in that draft, but man, a franchise record, 4 rushing touchdowns tonight. He ties Earl Campbell and Lorenzo White for the franchise history top mark with 4 rushing touchdowns, and we're not close to being finished.
Illegal formation, kicking team. There was not 2 players in between the inbounds line and the top of the numbers on the right side of the formation. Jacksonville has elected to re-kick.
11 carries total for 219 yards, averaging just under 20 yards a carry. Now the 99-yarder helps, but he's been almost impossible to bring down all night long.
Yeah, and against a really good defensive team that you just don't have those kinds of days against. And you know, these Thursday night games are tough, and they're tough for the, generally speaking, they're tough for the visiting team. And it just seems that regardless whether you're the home or away team, when things start to go south, I don't want to say teams quit, but the short week and fatigue and everything else, it sure looks that way, and it just snowballs, and then you have a runaway train like we have again tonight with this Tennessee team. But this has been embarrassing for this Jacksonville defense.
And by the way, Taylor Lewan was back on the field and in the game on that carry for Henry for the touchdown, his 4th of the night. Here's a return by Rashad Green. And Jacksonville will go back on offense. The AFC playoff picture. The number 1 seed as we sit here in week 14, Kansas City at 10-2. Then the Patriots at 9-3. Right there, the Texans. New England beat Houston week 1. Pittsburgh is the number 4 seed. But then you get to the Chargers at 9-3. Baltimore at 7-5, and right on the heels of the Steelers, and those 4 teams tied at 6-6. Miami, Indy, Denver, these Titans just on the outside of the door, knocking, trying to get in. Pass is caught. That is Westbrook. He is up to the 40-yard line.
Well, another one of those big games this weekend is Baltimore at Kansas City. Kansas City just, you know, trying to continue to have the lead over San Diego, and then of course Baltimore hanging in there in a wild card spot. Should be a good one.
You said San Diego. Kessler out to his right. He's going to carry for the first down, and he got hit and hit hard by Benny Logan. What's the over/under next Thursday?
I'm saying it's at least 5, but may have to go a little higher than that. I apologize to those that do not want to hear me call them the San Diego Chargers. Maybe those people down in San Diego, they are thankful. I don't know, but the LA Chargers, I'll work on it this week and have it straightened out by Thursday.
Have Kappa and the kids just keep saying it to you every time you show up in the kitchen. Here's TJ Yeldon over to the right side on first down.
You know, you were talking about Derrick Henry and where he went in the draft. Leonard Fournette was also the 4th overall pick. And I think if you look at the Jaguars and go back to 2016 at the end of that season, Bortles had a tough year, and the decision was made to go with Fournette. The Jags could have drafted a guy like Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, and they decided to go with the running back. And you know, whether that was a good decision or not, I don't know. Fournette obviously is a good player.
Thought the umpire was running in there to take the snap for a moment as Keelan Cole makes the catch for a first down.
Kessler might have let him.
Here, you do it.
But yeah, I think Tom Coughlin comes in and they go with the big bruising back and run the football. Of course, they brought in Norwell at left guard this year, and you know, hard to argue with what they were able to do last season. They doubled down on Bortles with an extension, and now he's benched, and so now the whole organization offensively is in disarray.
Pass is caught, and a nice move for a first down by Dede Westbrook. He's still playing. For more on Blake Bortles, here's Christina Pink.
Yeah, right now, Bortles' future is a question mark. Overall, he's actually handled the benching well. He's really been hands-on in helping Cody Kessler. But I talked to Bortles before the game. He says, right now, I don't know what's going to happen. I could be released. I could be staying with this team. But overall, I want to go ahead and start for another team at some point next season.
Kessler has his arm hit. The pass is going to go down as an incompletion to bring up 2nd and 10.
Well, I think Blake Bortles is, you know, he has struggled, and last year he got a lot of help with the running game, got a lot of help with the defense and the takeaways, and he got them to the championship game, and it's hard to walk away from that. And this organization you can't get rid of somebody until you have someone better to replace them. And I like Blake Bortles. I like the way he's handled himself, just like Christina Pink has said. But you have to have better quarterback play to win consistently in this league.
Here's one floated and caught by Westbrook. He gets popped by Malcolm Butler. And we've seen Cody Kessler, when he's had a little time or when he's bought himself time by using his legs, make some nice throws. That one for 23.
Yeah, he really has. And, you know, that's kind of his deal. You know, I mean, if he's able to buy a little bit of time and be efficient, and like I said, he doesn't turn the ball over. He was a 3-year starter in college. He's played a little bit.
Kessler zigzagging around, throws it away.
Well, he's not a guy who's going to wow you a whole lot with his arm, but you never know as far as what the organization's going to see from him. And I think Cody Kessler, I think he realizes that this is his opportunity, whether it's here in Jacksonville or getting a chance to go somewhere else. There's no doubt that Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone are studying him and will be making that determination. But he's looked good here tonight, and D.D. Westbrook has made some nice plays to help him out.
I think Kessler's creating a little value for himself here tonight so far. Blitz, passes thrown and broken up for Moncrief. Stepping in front, Malcolm Butler, who's been playing better and better as the season has gone on. A free agent pickup, as you know, from New England.
Kessler, he's getting used to this, turning it loose and then getting laid out. Yeah, Malcolm Butler, they also went out and got Logan Ryan last year, who had been with the Patriots. And you know, that's what happens when you're Mike Vrabel and you bring in guys you're familiar with, and his stop with the Patriots as well. But Butler has gotten better and has done some nice things here in recent weeks.
Extra man on the rush. This one to the end zone and thrown too far for D.D. Westbrook. He got out there, was behind the defense, and Kessler let that one get away from him. 4th down. Marrone, why not? They're 4-8. They're down by 28. Just keep going.
Whenever the response is why not, you know the year's not gone as well as you'd hope.
That's right. Why not? Kessler to the end zone. Pass is caught for the touchdown. D.D. Westbrook. Able to tap the feet down. Let's take a look. Catch, right foot. Hey.
Oh, man, he doesn't get the left toe. He doesn't drag it, as Nate Burleson would say, and
looks to be out.
Yeah, it sure does. It's awfully close, and Kessler's on his back again at the end of this play. Brian Arakpo takes him down. It's a wonder that he was even able to get it.
Will be reviewed
in the vicinity of Westbrook.
It's a scoring play, so it's reviewed, and it looks like for the 2nd time in the game, with goal to go, the Jaguars will turn it over on downs. We'll get the call when we come back. During the break, they make the announcement that the ruling on the field stands. Remember, that was the call. Certainly worth plenty more looks. And then we'll hear from Mike Pereira. So the touchdown is good. Great effort either way by Westbrook. He's been playing hard tonight, all night. And Mike Pereira, why don't you take us through this replay? Did you see a tap down at all by the left foot there? And it looks like he gets some grass before the boundary.
It does, Joe. It hits it. And it's kind of interesting because the fans here are not very happy. But with 20 cameras, you get a lot of looks. And that shot from behind, and then this shot, you can actually see where the toe touches before it gets to the right, to the white. So, yep, remember, it's got to be beyond a shadow of a doubt. And it's got to be indisputable. there's certainly enough question there that you leave it as a touchdown.
Yeah, I think that first look, tough to see that look from behind. It looks like the toe just grazes the green grass before the white grass.
Yeah, it did. And hey, kudos to the officials. I mean, I beat up on them a little bit here tonight as well, and they get beat up all the time. But to be able to make that call in real time in a bang situation and wondering if he's got possession and his feet in, and great camera work, number one, but also outstanding job by those officials getting it right, because until we saw that one angle, it didn't look like he was into us for us either.
Sunday, it's a Fox NFL doubleheader, starting with Drew Brees and the Saints taking on the Buccaneers. Then America's Game of the Week, Carson Wentz and the Eagles battle Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys in that big matchup in the NFC East. It's all on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings. Dallas leading at 7-5. There's Philly at 6-6, and the injury-ravaged Redskins at 6-6 as well. And you said it. What started this 4-game winning streak for Dallas was a win in Philly when everything looked like it was stacked against the Cowboys. Now everything looks like it's stacked against the Eagles, making maybe they can return the favor. Here's Dion Lewis to the 30 for 5.
Yeah, I think if you look at Dallas, 3 of their 4 wins that they've had here on this streak were wins that nobody thought they would have. I mean, it started at Philadelphia on prime time. They surprised them. Then they have to go on the road against Atlanta. Not many people thought they could win that game. They did. They, of course, beat Washington, but then last Thursday night to beat the New Orleans Saints the way they were able to in that defense, to win a game scoring 13 points and to hold the Saints to 10 points. We were there for it. Really good. This is a must-win game for Philadelphia. Dallas can knock them out of the race Sunday afternoon.
Because of the head-to-head, if nothing else. Here's Lewis. Good play by Miles Jack. Came up high, brought down Dion Lewis, a gain of 1, and with under a minute to go, third quarter, 3rd and 4.
I will say, final thoughts on that matchup. The Eagles and Carson Wentz, they've had success at AT&T Stadium, so it's a road game for them, but one that they are confident in their ability to go out and play well and come away with a victory.
3rd down and 4 here, and a 3 tight end set for the Titans on offense. That's one of them. Stocker in motion. Mariota throws back across the field. Catch is made by Michael Pruitt. He's got a first down with a gain of 9, and that'll do it for the 3rd quarter here in Nashville. Mike Vrabel in his first year as head coach. All smiles. His team up big over Jacksonville. The Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light. What a night for Derrick Henry, 3rd-year pro. 219 rush yards, the 4 rushing touchdowns, tying a franchise record. Couple other attainable goals if they keep running him, and he goes backward here as Calais Campbell makes the play, a loss of 3. In case you're wondering, and why wouldn't you be, the NFL record for yards in a game is Adrian Peterson against Troy San Diego way back in 2007. Henry at 216, but there have been times where it looks like some of the Jaguar defenders aren't too keen on going in and trying to knock down 6'3", 247 pounds of Derrick Henry. He gets it here. Well played this time as Tashawn Gibson comes up and makes the play, and then Darius was in there from the up front crew. A gain of 1, so 3rd down and 12 coming up.
Well, Derrick Henry, his first couple of seasons, he split carries with DeMarco Murray, and now this year he's split carries with Dion Lewis. In his first 2 seasons, he was averaging over 4 yards a carry. This year hadn't been quite as good. Coming into this game, he was averaging 3.7 yards a carry, but after tonight, when you're averaging 16 yards a carry in this game, that probably get him back over the 4-yard mark.
Here's a screen and a good tackle. Flag is down. That's Ferkser on the screen. And the tackle was by Telvin Smith. We'll see who it's against.
Illegal block in the back, number 77. Penalties declined. 4th down.
So we got blocked in the back. Telvin Smith did and still made the play. The call was against Luong.
Well, that was declined because they didn't make the first down, so that holding penalty doesn't count. So they're going to have to double up there, Mike.
That's going to bother you all night.
It's absurd. It's absurd to me that the league would say to officials that they want holding penalties up. I can't imagine there's a fan at home that's saying, "Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, that's a good decision."
Give them what they want.
Give them what they want.
It's a line drive punt. Another good one. Checks up inside the 5. And it'll maybe get to the 6. As that play was made by Quentin Meeks. You believe in miracles, huh? 21-point game.
I believe in
Jacksonville gets the ball backed up inside their own 10, 30-9. That's the score on a Thursday night. A little peek inside the broadcast booth. Joe Troy and Mike Pereira. It was something, Mike, that you brought up early about the league wanting to get the holding calls up. Why don't you just
want to clean that up, Mike?
For the sake of all of our well-being, talk more about that and maybe clear it up. Here's a pass incomplete for Keelan Cole.
Well, listen, what they're really saying is that there's certain techniques that have come in that they're not being picked up on the field, and so they want those techniques picked up. They're not saying, hey, we want more holding called. They want the ones that are being missed called, and which is going to lead to more holding calls, which started last week and has carried over till tonight.
So something for the fans to look forward to this weekend.
Give them what they want, isn't that what you said?
2nd down and 10. You try to wrangle me into your mess over there. Kessler throws and Moncrief makes the grab. He's going to have a 1st down. Woodyard out there to make the stop, and Moncrief with a catch and run of 12 yards. Well, anything to slow down the offense now. They wanted more offense in the game, and however it's legislated, however they've gotten there, 9,186 points in the league through 13 weeks. That's the most in the history of the NFL. 671 touchdown passes, the same. The most in the history of the NFL. Here's Blake Bell with a 1st down catch of 7 yards. Offense through the roof, and we'll see 2 great ones next Thursday with the Chargers and the Chiefs in Kansas City. Second down and 3. Kessler out to his right. Flag is thrown. Kessler ends up on the ground. And it was the ref, John Perry, that threw the flag. Pressure by Byard.
Holding. Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And you see the hold right there. You look at this you look at this Tennessee defense and the job that they've done, and Mike Vrabel comes in and they put in a little bit different scheme. He hires Dean Pease as his defensive coordinator, a guy who had been the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator for 6 years. He retired in January, and then when Vrabel got this job, a short time after, he talked him into coming out of retirement and serving as his defensive coordinator. The 2 were together when Vrabel was a player with the New England Patriots. A lot of respect between those 2 men.
2nd down and 13. Kessler breaks a couple of tackles and brings up a short 3rd down Aaron, there's more to the story than just Dean Pease coming back.
Been dying to tell this story, by the way. He was out of work for about 2 weeks when he decided to retire. I spoke with Dean Pease's wife, Melody, today. Not only did he retire, they booked a European cruise. She had packed up their entire house. It was on the way to Michigan. He gets a text from Vrabel, and she said, "Oh, no." But, of course, he had to go, and Dean Pease telling me he was able to bring on his son, which was something on his bucket list, Joe and Troy.
It's become a family affair as Rashad Green can't haul that in. It'll be 4th down and 3, and back into the why not category. They'll go for it here on 4th down.
Well, there's a look at Mike Vrabel, a guy who I have an enormous respect for and his playing career. And then when he took that and got into coaching and the job that he's done, he's been successful and he's getting his opportunity now as a head coach. I think he's done a good job. You forget sometimes, however, that this was a playoff team a year ago. You don't typically see changes at the head coaching position with a team that not only got to the postseason but won in the wild card round before losing to New England.
Kessler airs it out on 4th and 3, and nearly a catch by Moncrief. He couldn't hang on. And the Jaguars turn it over on downs. Tennessee back on offense, leading by 21, 10:54 left. Back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. A lot of action on these streets downtown Nashville, Tennessee. And their Titans on their way to a 7-6 record after going 9-7 a year ago. Putting more pressure on the teams they came in tied with at 6-6, and the teams out in front of them in the AFC playoff chase. A gain of 1 by Derrick Henry. 2nd down and 9. The Titans brought in John Robinson as their general manager in 2016. He had been Tampa Bay's director of player personnel. Before that, though, was with New England for 12 years. Including his last 5 there as the director of college scouting. Hired Mike Vrabel, acquired Dion Lewis, Malcolm Butler. There is a New England touch down here in Nashville. From John Robinson, here's a toss. Henry running left. Wow. They just can't bring him down.
Not at 250 pounds. I mean, it's a big man right here. Running the football, and he's dragging bodies with him. That time Miles Jack gets drug along the way. There's Mike Vrabel, and 12-year career with the Steelers, Patriots, or 14-year career actually with the Patriots, Steelers, and Chiefs. And what a lot of people don't know, Joe, is he had 12 career receptions for 12 receiving touchdowns, for a total of 14 yards. So he was a guy who lined up down around the goal line at tight end, and he'd make some teams pay.
Henry looking for another. He's got a franchise high for rushing yards in a game, and they've given Henry enough for another 1st down. This a gain of 11. He's at 239 in this game.
Yeah, I just, it's like the basketball player that just can't miss. It just gets hot and you just keep feeding them and letting them shoot. I just keep giving him the ball.
He doesn't want to get rid of that ball. He's aware that that's a franchise record. Yeah. He's coming out with it.
I'd get back out there and let him give it to you again.
Too many men on the field as Dion Lewis with flags down. There are 2 flags on this play, and Lewis was short of the end zone, and this crowd wants Derrick Henry to go back in there.
That's pretty good.
There's 2 fouls on the play. Offside. Defense. Penalties decline. 12 men on the field. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. Replay 1st down.
Aaron?
Well, Derrick Henry was the one that was obviously asking to come out. Mike Vrabel talking to him, and he's saying keep Dion Lewis in there. And I'd loved, you guys keep talking about Henry's size. He's huge. Dion Lewis, when he first came to Tennessee, said wow, Derrick Henry's big, and that means he's a heck of a lot bigger than me. I'm 5'8" on a good day.
This crowd is chanting Henry's name. They want to see his 5th touchdown.
Well, I think Mike Vrabel would like to see just someone score, whether it's Lewis or Henry, but somebody.
Here's Lewis. He doesn't get there, and maybe the door's open for Henry to go back out and try for his 5th.
I think Vrabel's going to have to just drag him out there. I mean, they're telling him to go.
I'm with you. It at least looks like Vrabel wants Henry to go in.
It looked to me like he gestured to him to get out there, and whether he's just being a good teammate saying let somebody else do it, or I don't know. I don't know that I've ever quite seen that.
Lewis. Nope. Jalen Ramsey. Miles Jack. Here he comes.
He let the crowd build to a crescendo. It's like Roy Hobbs in The Natural.
Give them what they want.
Give them what they want.
Meanwhile, what was going on after that last play? Lewan came up to Jalen Ramsey, and Ramsey acted as if he was hit a lot harder than he was, and timeout will be taken here by Vrabel. The play clock at 1. 3rd down and goal, and it feels like the entire stadium is waiting for a handoff to Derrick Henry.
Now it's 3rd and 3. Do you give it to Henry or do you throw it?
We'll find out on the other side of the break. Well, what do you think? I say hand it to him.
I do too. Yeah, I think I would think Matt LaFleur will give it to him. But hey, there's 11 guys on that other side of the ball that are thinking they're going to give it to him too. Maybe you have Mariota a little bootleg action, play action, and
he's already got the franchise record for rushing yards in a game at 239, and he would stand alone with 5 rushing touchdowns if he gets it here.
Well, I'd like to. We talked about how Vrabel mixes it up with these players in practice. I'd like to see if Henry had told him that he wasn't going in on 3rd down.
Toss to Henry to the edge. Can't get there. And the play is made. Miles Jack was in there. Telvin Smith. And this crowd wants another crack at it.
You got Miles Jack who comes in, and Telvin Smith.
Deshaun Gibson came up and got hands on Henry. That was well pursued.
Well, Miles Jack and Telvin Smith, they come up and say, yeah, get you some of that. You know, I mean, after he's just been running all over him the whole game.
A loss of 1 on that 3rd down play. It's 4th and goal. They fake it. They throw it. End zone incomplete for Corey Davis. And it remains a 21-point game. So with everybody looking for a handoff, they went play action. The play was there.
Had a chance. Yeah, one he should have caught. That was not that poorly thrown.
We've seen a history-tying moment tonight by Derrick Henry. My dad was there when Tony Dorsett went for 99 in 1983.
Here is the give to Dorsett. He breaks through a hole and comes out to the 10, to the 15. He may run 99 yards. He is to midfield. He's to the 40, 35, 30, 25, out of bounds. No, he didn't go out of bounds. It's a touchdown. A touchdown for Tony Dorsett, the longest rush from scrimmage in the history of pro football. He ran 99 yards and 2 feet.
How great is that?
Thank the guys and gals in the truck for coming up with that. Personal foul on the hit on Kessler. Derek Morgan with the pressure, and now a conference before the announcement is made, and let's see.
And they come with the crown of the helmet.
Foul, roughing the passer. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
See Morgan come in and with the crown of the helmet, and that's then the call.
Mike Pereira's here. Mike, would you care to weigh in on that call?
Well, not really, but I will. It's in defense of John Perry, the referee. It is high, and when you see it in real time, they're trying to protect the head and neck area. But to me, it's more shoulder, not quite crown. Probably better not to call that.
Kessler throws it away. He's been under pressure this entire night.
You know, the interesting thing on that Tony Dorsett run was the Cowboys only had 10 men on the field when he went that 99 yards and 2 feet, as your dad said. And I was watching that game live when it happened. Pretty incredible. But what a night Derrick Henry has had, just running over people all night long.
Dorsett went down the right sideline. Derrick Henry went down the left sideline. Looked for a moment like both guys had stepped out of bounds, but they were able to walk the tightrope, stay in, break tackles, and take it 99 yards. Here's Fournette on a screen with blocking in front of him. A yard short of a first down. Third down coming up. Approaching 5.5 minutes left in the game. Here's the 99-yarder by Derrick Henry back in the first half. Right through Boye, but he's not the only guy on that list. Leon Jacobs as well. Miles Jack, nobody could bring him down. Fournette has a first down. Compton ends up making the tackle after a gain of 6.
You talk about these two running backs and where they went in the draft. Derrick Henry, back when they were in college, when he was at Alabama, he outdueled Leonard Fournette for the Heisman Trophy.
Jacksonville now just 2 for 11 on third down after that conversion. Good protection this time. Pass is nearly picked. Diving attempt by Jayon Brown, one of the better young linebackers in the NFL. Tonight after the postgame show, NFL Total Access is joined by Rams tackle and Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee Andrew Whitworth. NFL Total Access tonight after the postgame, only on NFL Network. The Rams can clinch a first-round bye with a win Sunday at Chicago. They've clinched their division, back-to-back NFC West champs, 17 and 18. Here's a pass caught by Rashad Green, and he got 10. Here's the night for Cody Kessler, under pressure to say the least.
Well, I'll say he's like we've talked about. He's hung in there, and he's been taking a lot of hits throughout the night, and even when he's taken some of those hits, he's delivered some pretty nice throws. I think it's been an awfully good showing for him. It's a shame that the defense really let him down in a lot of ways. Not that they've been able to do much on the offensive side of the ball in terms of scoring points. I think it's interesting that, you know, he was 0-8 in his rookie season as a starter, and then last week making his 9th start, and they scored 6 points. It was the fewest points that he's been able to generate as the starter, and yet it's the only game that he was able to win. And that defense really stepped up and did some great things, but once they got behind right away with Tennessee and unable to then punch it in when they went for it on 4th down, it's just been an uphill battle for Kessler in this offense.
4-man rush. O'Shaughnessy gets a yard. Malcolm Butler makes a nice play out there. Well, this defense on that 99-yard run. Boye, Jacobs, Miles Jack gets onto the list. And then there were more missed tackles with Henry running the ball. 4-touchdown night pass is dropped by Westbrook.
Well, I think the great thing for Tennessee, as it is for all these teams that play then on Thursday, we've got a man down for Jacksonville, or for Tennessee.
Looks like it may be Orakpo. And the veteran, 4-time Pro Bowler, is in some pain. Let's take a look at what's coming up for Tennessee. Here's why you said early, Troy, even though they're 6-6, about to go to 7-6, Tennessee is in a position because of that schedule. And the Colts are no easy game. I mean, we know that. They were red hot before they were shut out last week by Jacksonville. But schedule of the teams that are 6-6, theirs is quote unquote the lightest.
That's right. And now, with, like I was going to say, with the Thursday night game, they get a chance to rest and have 10 days to get ready to go. And that's a nice luxury to have. It's hard going into a Thursday game on the short week, but to have it late in the season, especially when you're in the middle of a playoff push, and to have a game like they're having tonight, that could set them up in a nice position for these last 3 games. Like I said, this Baltimore team right now ahead of Tennessee. A lot of other teams are as well, but Baltimore in the driver's seat for the wild card spot. But they've got a tough one here this week against Kansas City.
Like the Predators might say, looks like an upper body injury for Brian Orakpo. And so they'll take him off and give him a look. Jacksonville with the football, 3:33 left, 21-point game. Just a last note about Henry. Derrick Henry, talking about the 4 touchdown runs. The first one was 3 yards, but then 99, 16 yards, and 54 yards for scores tonight. 4th down and 9 here. Another why not by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Blitz. Ryan coming and got him. Logan Ryan with his 3rd sack of the season.
Well, Leonard Fournette, he's trying to get over there to pick it up, and he loses vision of him and is getting over there a little late. Kessler goes down again.
Well, Mike McCarthy was fired on Sunday by the Green Bay Packers with a career record of 125, 77 and 2, 9 playoff appearances, 8 seasons of 10 or more wins. And when he was fired, was the 3rd longest tenured active head coach in the NFL. Joe Philbin has taken over as the interim head coach as a handoff to Dion Lewis for 1 yard. And I know you read an interesting piece today on Mike McCarthy and his return back into the building.
Yeah, I talked about it last week. I have a great deal of respect for what McCarthy has done there in Green Bay, and don't feel that he deserved to be fired. And during the season, likely that was what was going to happen. But give the Packers some credit. Mark Murphy, along with Joe Philbin, the interim head coach, they allowed Mike McCarthy to come back, the right thing to do, and let him address the team for one last time. And shoot, the team gave him a standing ovation, and I thought that was a great gesture on their part, recognizing what he's done for them. And it's rare that gets to happen in our game, whether it's for a coach or a player for that matter, when they get released, to get an opportunity to go back and visit with the team one last time. I thought that was a great move by the organization. I thought it was a very classy response by those players.
Well, McCarthy came in at the tail end of Brett Favre, had Aaron Rodgers sitting there for 3 years learning. Mike McCarthy developed Aaron Rodgers, and those two went on to win a Super Bowl. We witnessed it against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Arlington, Texas, in Super Bowl 45. And now Mike McCarthy You have to believe, as we are at the 2-minute warning, will be somewhere as a head coach in the NFL when he wants, if it's next year or whatever his timetable is. The NFC playoff picture. The number 1 seed right now, the Rams at 11-1, that clinched their division. Then the Saints. Saints beat the Rams, however, head-to-head. So if they end up with the same record, the Saints would jump over the top of LA. Then the Bears, the Cowboys in the hunt. The Seahawks and the Vikings in the top 2 spots for wild card positions. Then the Panthers, they've lost 4 straight. Ron Rivera taking over the defensive play calling in Carolina. The Eagles, who are at the Cowboys on Sunday right here on Fox. The Redskins trying to hang on with all those injuries, and the Buccaneers, the last team on that list, at 5-7.
Yeah, I think you look at it, that was a tough loss for New Orleans against Dallas to lose the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they've got some tough games coming up. They've got Pittsburgh at home. Pittsburgh's going to fight themselves within their own division.
Here's a throw to Ferkser on 3rd down and 6 for a first down, and that will most likely do it.
You know, New Orleans is still having to go. They go to Tampa Bay this week, and then they're at Carolina also. So they've got a tough stretch coming up. But if you're the Los Angeles Rams, you see the end of that play. If you're the Los Angeles Rams, you know they can't afford to give one back, having lost to New Orleans. So here, a team that's only lost 1 game, and they're going to likely have to play it all the way through to the end of the season.
Matt LaFleur, who was with Sean McVay in LA last year with the Rams, didn't call the plays for the Rams. That's McVay's deal out there. The young, brilliant offensive line. But LaFleur said he wanted to run play action like they do with LA. He said, but we need to run the ball better. I'd say they accomplished that tonight. And Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 238 yards, a career high, a franchise record, 4 touchdowns, and a night to remember here on December 6th, 2018.
Well, Derrick Henry almost had more yards rushing than Jacksonville had in total offense. So you're going to win a lot of games when your running back goes for 230 yards.
And late in this game, seemed willing to leave that 5th rushing touchdown on the sideline and let Dion Lewis go to work. 30-9, a 21-point win for the Titans. They're now 7-6. They've won 2 straight, and they are alive in the AFC playoff chase. Coming up next, the Buffalo Wild Wings postgame show. 21-point win for Tennessee. Thanks for watching Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light.